So we will start with the central PSUs, and after that we will discuss about the disinvestment. So the companies which are owned by the central government, union government, or any one of the many states, the companies which are owned by the union government or any one of the many states or territorial governments, that is UTs or both, right? So these PSUs, they can be owned by central government or state government or both, right? So we have both central PSU and we have state PSU, है ना? So each of the state have their own PSUs in different sectors, and similarly the central government has also its own public sector undertakings, right? Now, how do we decide that the company is a government company? It's a central PSU. So if the government has at least 50% shareholding in the company, that is majority shareholding, in that case it is called PSU, right? So basically PSU is a company. It is a company which is registered under Companies Act, right? It is registered under Companies Act. Earlier there was Companies Act of 1956, and now we have Companies Act 2013, which has replaced the Companies Act 1956. So it is a company, and in this company either the union government or the state government or both together, they have 50%, more than 50%, more than 50% shareholding, right? So why we have kept this criteria of 50%? Because if government is having the more than 50% shareholding, then the government can take any decision in this company. Majority of the voice will be from the side of government. Operational decision, managerial decision, business related decision, decisions regarding human resources, all decisions can be taken by the government. So the government has the majority shareholding. So this is more than 50%, right? So even if the government has one extra share from the 50%, it automatically becomes majority shareholder, right? So not 51%, it is more than 50%, at least more than 50%, 50 plus, 50% plus. So if only and only central government has this shareholding, then this is central PSU. If only and only state has this, then this is state PSU, right? So example of central PSU is, for example, we have NTPC Limited, ONGC, Indian Oil Corporation, lots of companies. In every state there are electricity distribution companies. For example, in Uttar Pradesh we have Paschimachal Vidyut Vitran Nigam Limited. Similarly, in every state there are companies which are working in different sectors, maybe in the sector of health, in the sector of sugar industry, and so on. And there are certain PSUs where both central government and state government have the shareholding, and the one such example is Delhi Metro, DMRC. So in the Delhi Metro, both the government of Delhi as well as the union government. Both the government have the shareholding. Both the government have the shareholding. Right. Now coming back, so PSUs may be classified as central PSUs, state PSUs, and apart from that, we also have the public sector banks, right? So public sector banks are also part of the central PSUs only. They are also part of the central PSUs, right? So for example, State Bank of India, etc. But because their nature of business is altogether different and their regulation is altogether different, that is why they are classified separately. Otherwise the condition is same. The condition of minimum 50%, more than 50% shareholding is there. So that condition is there. If government do not have 50% shareholding, then it is not a public sector bank. For a CPSC, the direct holding of central government or other CPSC, this is also important. So either holding of the central government or holding of the other CPSC, right? So for example, very recently there was a transaction between power finance companies. So there are two companies. One is Power Finance Corporation, and this is a real example. I am not giving the hypothetical example. One is Power Finance Corporation, another is Rural Electricity Corporation. Both are the central government companies. Earlier, central government was holding the shares in both the companies. Suppose 70% in this company and 70% in this company. Now central government sold all its shares in the REC and these shares were purchased by the PFC. These shares are purchased by the PFC. Now because PFC is also the central government company, it is also a central PSU, and this central PSU is having majority holding in the REC, right? So this REC is also central PSU, right? So earlier central government was having direct holding in the REC, so then also it was central PSU. Now it is not the central government but one of the central PSU which is holding the majority holding in the REC, which is holding the majority shares in the REC. So now also this is central PSU, right? So majority shareholding of the central government directly or through any other central PSU indirectly, both are possible. Both are possible. Now you will ask a question, sir, why the government is selling its shares in the REC to the PFC? Why central government is not holding the shares directly into the REC? So by selling the shares in the REC to the PFC, the central government actually got the cash without losing the control over the REC, है ना? So in case, so basically this REC was one of the disinvestment from the side of central government, right? So REC was part of the disinvestment program. मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को आरईसी में अपने शेयर्स को सेल करना ही था. अगर उसको ओपन मार्केट में सेल करते तो आरईसी के ऊपर से गवर्नमेंट का कंट्रोल खत्म हो जाता. तो गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, इसने एक अपनी कंपनी को बोला कि भाई आप इसमें जो मैं शेयर सेल कर रहा हूं ये आप शेयर खरीद लो, ठीक है, ये आप शेयर खरीद लो. तो अगर आप ये शेयर खरीद लोगे तो मुझे पैसा मिल जाएगा और कंट्रोल जो है वो भी हमारे पास ही रहेगा, है ना. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो वन पार्ट, वन काइंड ऑफ होल्डरशिप विच इज पॉसिबल इन द सेंट्रल पीएसयूज. ठीक है. नाउ दिस पीएसयूज they are administered by the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, right? So when we say central government means what? Central government means what? So basically, for every PSU, there are twofold regulation from सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, है ना. तो when we say central government has decided this, central government ने ये कर दिया, central government ने, so who is central government? Is it the prime minister or someone else? So basically there is twofold regulation over the central PSUs. One is through the Ministry of Heavy Industries, and another is through the administrative ministries of respective PSU, है ना. So this Ministry of Heavy Industries, and inside this there is one DIPP, which I will tell you later, one of the department. So they are having the overall control over all the central PSUs, है ना. What should be the performance target of the PSU, how much shareholding the government should have in a central PSU, how many shares should be sold to the public. All those decisions are taken by Department of Heavy Industries, and rest of the decisions which are regarding the business. For example, if we talk about IRCTC, so IRCTC is in the railway sector. So Ministry of Railway is the administrative ministry. So business related decision will be taken with the help of railway. For example, if we talk about NTPC is in the power sector. So Ministry of Power is the administrative ministry of this PSU. For example, if we talk about Indian Oil Corporation, right? So Ministry of Oil and Natural Gas, Ministry of Energy basically is the relevant administrative ministry, right? So business related regulation is done by the administrative ministry, and otherwise on behalf of the central government, the shareholding, all those decisions, those are taken by the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, right? Ministry of Heavy Industries and the Public Enterprises. So they are administered by the Ministry of Heavy Industries and the Public Enterprises. Now, in order to provide, so basically if we talk about PSUs, let us discuss the context, why we established the PSUs. So if we go back to the time of independence, at the time of independence, we adopted democratic socialism, right? So what is democratic socialism? The concept I will I will discuss in the planning chapter, but as of now just understand that in the democratic socialism we are basically adopting the concept of mixed economy along with the major control of public sector, है ना. Now what is the meaning of mixed economy? Mixed economy means economy where both the public sector and private sector they work together, है ना. So public sector has a the benefit of public sector is that it takes care of the equality. It does not differentiate between the people based upon their paying capacity. So it ensures the social welfare. And the benefit of private sector is that it brings efficiency. It rewards productivity. So we adopted a combination of both efficiency and productivity along with welfareism and the equality, right? We adopted the mixed economy and we gave the major control to the public sector. Why we gave the major share to the public sector? Because first of all, private sector was incapable at that time. At the time of independence, private sector was not capable enough to invest huge amount in the economy. There were only few companies. Secondly, we also wanted to ensure the welfare of masses, and the welfare of masses was possible only and only when we can give the control of economy in the public sector. If we give the control of economy in the public sector, it can create jobs, it can go to the backward areas and create infrastructure there, it can provide the job to the SC/ST, right? It can sell the goods and services at controlled price. So basically it can take care of all the social welfare objective along with doing the business, right? So private sector was incapable and welfare of masses was required. Therefore we gave the major control of public sector. We gave the major control of economy to the public sector, right? So there were various regulations. Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948, Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956, which gave the predominant role to the public sector, and the control over private sector was ensured through the mechanism like license system, etc. But till 1991, these PSUs started facing many kind of problem, right? What kind of problem? The problem like political interference. So all the decisions will be taken by the ministers, even if the decision is not viable commercially. For example, if some power plant has to be established, it requires certain preconditions in the particular area. So there should be some water, there should be easier availability of the coal, it should be blessed with the sufficient manpower. So only if these conditions are satisfied, any power plant can be successful, otherwise not. But even if these conditions are not satisfied, one of the Prime Minister ordered that the power plant should be established in its own constituency in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and that power plant failed finally, right? So this kind of political interference was there. Then there was high control of bureaucracy, right? So immediately after independence, this bureaucracy got the major control over the governance, right? They are good in the administration, but PSUs are the business entities. The IAS officers can be good in the administration of general nature. They are generalistic officer. They are not the specialist officer. So if we talk about power sector, in power sector, which kind of technology should be used, all those things should be decided by the professional, not by the generalistic person. But because of dominance of IAS officers, this bureaucratic system was there. It dominated the PSUs also, and the PSUs started facing losses. Apart from that, there were high social obligations, right? So every PSU has to give some job security. They have to provide the goods and services at low cost. They have to cater to the unviable businesses also. So because of all these interferences, all these issues, till 1991, majority of the PSUs, they came into losses. So they started facing huge losses, right? So at this point of time, the government came up with various reforms in the PSU sector. Reforms as part of the liberalization, privatization and globalization strategy, right? Liberalization, privatization and globalization strategy, right? So as part of this strategy, the government announced two major reforms. One was the grant of managerial and financial autonomy to the PSUs, and another was selling the stakes in the PSU, that is disinvestment, right? So one was that it granted managerial and financial autonomy to the existing PSUs, and it also started selling the stakes in some of the non-profitable PSUs or non-important PSUs, non-profitable or non-important PSUs, right? So they were the two major reforms. Now coming to the first reform, that is financial and managerial autonomy.